Josh Jacobs thinks that Jordan Love has all the traits and tools to be the next superstar, and he went on NFL Network's The Insiders and talked about it, and this is what he had to say. To me, just from what I've seen, he has all the traits and all the tools to be a superstar in this league. I think that as he keeps continuing to play and gets experience and becomes more confident in his abilities and what he could do, he's going to be the next superstar in this league for sure. Now, I want to know, do you actually agree or disagree with Jacobs that Jordan Love will be the next superstar in the NFL?
Well, I think potentially he could be a superstar. I'm not sure if he's the next one or not. There's a lot of other good players out there, too, that could rise to the level of superstar. Exactly what is a superstar? I looked it up. It's a high-profile and extremely successful performer. So I think he's been reasonably successful. His sample size is pretty small so far. He had a good year last year. He kind of confirmed Green Bay's expectations for him. His wide receiver core started out, very junior, and I think they only have two second-year players. The rest are all rookies. It took them a while to gel, but once they did, the second half of the year, wow, they played great. So I think that if, as Jacob says, if he continues to play and gets experience and becomes more comfortable in his abilities and what he can do, he's going to be a superstar. Maybe not the next one, but he probably will be a superstar. If you look at his stats for 2023, almost 4,159 yards, a 64.2% completion percentage, 32 TDs, 11 interceptions. That's very good. 96.1 passer rating. That's very good. 247 yards rushing and 4 TDs. And in the playoffs against Dallas, where they won 48-32, he had a 157.2 passer rating and a 76.2% completion percentage. That was his first playoff game as a starter. So those are superstar stats for sure. And he didn't do as great against San Francisco, but San Francisco wound up in the Super Bowl. So I think Green Bay is anxious for an extension with him and trying to get it done before training camp starts, as I understand. Josh Jacobs, on the other hand, what else he's going to say? He's just starting out with them, and he wants to make a good impression, and he wants to have good camaraderie with Jordan Love. So he's pumping him up, saying he's going to be a superstar. I think Josh Jacobs looks pretty good too. I mean, he had 12 TDs. In 2022, he had 1,653 yards, 12 TDs, almost 5 yards a carry. 3 years with 1,000-plus yards and 12 TDs in 2 consecutive seasons. He averaged 48 receptions for 348 yards the past 3 seasons. In 2023, he had 805 yards, 6 TDs, 3.5 yard per carry in 30 games. Now, is he going to outperform the rushing abilities of Green Bay in 2023? That's hard to say because they did have Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones, to me, I was surprised that that Green Bay let him go. I thought he's really he was great in the Dallas playoff game. He's been a very clutch player for the Green Bay for quite a few years. I was surprised they let him go. Josh Jacobs has the stats. Will he be a credible replacement for Aaron Jones? That remains to be seen.
I'm going no. Although I think very highly of Jordan Love, I'm not going with he's a superstar yet because he's a right now, currently, first-time starter in his 3rd year in the NFL. But it's really a tale of 2 sides. The first side being those first couple games, the first 9 games versus the last 10, and we have the numbers here. It's a drastically different player, and that could just be developing with your young core of receivers. Your top receiver is a brand new rookie, and your number 2 receiver was a year 2 guy in Romeo Doubs. Number 1 would be Jalen Reed. So I think it's really the first 9 games are shocking, but I think because you're a quarterback, a first-year starting quarterback with a incredibly young team, I believe it was the youngest team in the NFL last season, I can understand why your completion percentage is sub 60. You don't win a lot of games, you're doing a lot of turnovers, and then once you gel the last 10 games, you were actually incredible. 7 touchdowns, and that also includes the playoffs, obviously. 7-3 record, 64.5% completion percentage, over 260 yards a game, 23 touchdowns, 3 picks, a passer rating of 113. So while the numbers on one side don't look that great and the numbers on the other side look spectacular, I thought, you know what? Because we've talked about this quarterback before, I think it's only fair to give a quarterback comparison. And so we'll do another mystery quarterback comparison. I love doing these. And so let's go back on the QB comparison block. We can get the graphic up. It's not working right now. So basically what I have here, I'll read it out once we get this going. So record 9-8 versus 9-6. Completion percentage is 64.2 for Jordan Love for 63.9 for this other quarterback. 4,159 yards compared to 4,108. And then 32 pass touchdowns to 23, 11 picks to 5 picks, 96.1 passer rating to 100.8. A very, very similar quarterback. I'm just curious if you would know who this quarterback is. We've talked about him before, and we think very highly of this quarterback.
9-6 record?
9-6 record. He did not play every single game. He was injured.
C.J. Stroud.
Indeed, it is C.J. Stroud. Now, we think very highly of C.J. Stroud, and we thought, maybe Jordan Love, he looked good last 10 games. You know, first 9 was hideous, and I could completely agree with that. However, another first-year starter, rookie, C.J. Stroud, I think that we got to give a little bit more credibility and a little bit more confidence in Jordan Love's future. So for me, I'm not putting him in superstar category yet. Is he an incredible quarterback already? Yes. I think, would I put him in my top 10 right now? Yes. I would put both those quarterbacks in my top 10. Yeah. Because the last time we saw Jordan Love, he was going toe-to-toe with Brock Purdy, and I think in many aspects outplayed Brock Purdy. So I think that if you compare him with the rest of the quarterbacks in the league, does he have the strongest arm? No. Does he have the best mobility? No. Does he see the field as clearly as other quarterbacks? No. But has he been a great quarterback in an extremely young system with extremely young receivers? Yes. So I have a lot of confidence in Jordan Love to eventually get to superstardom, but currently as it stands, no. Just like Josh Jacobs said, he has the tools and traits to become the next superstar. Mm-hmm. I would not consider Tua Tagovailoa a superstar. I would not consider Trevor Lawrence a superstar. Jared Goff has been in the league a while, but I wouldn't consider him a superstar.
Who would you consider the superstar quarterbacks right now?
Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts.
Lamar Jackson. Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers is too. I would not put him in. He's going, 8-9 last time we saw him.
He was hurt all last year.
Right. So I would not put him in superstardom anymore. I think that there are a lot of quarterbacks that are very good. I think Brock Purdy is on the edge of becoming a superstar. Mm-hmm.
So I did a little research myself.
Sure.
And I looked at 2022, the top 3 passers in the league. Brady, Mahomes, and Justin Herbert. Now, those quarterbacks are quite different when you think about them. Brady, more a pocket passer. Mahomes, a guy who can scramble and make a play out of nothing. Justin Herbert, also more or less a pocket-type passer. What are the criteria that they have in common? I consider all 3 of them to be superstars. Arm talent, right? I would say all 3 of them have arm talent. They pass for well over 4,000 yards, or well over 4,500 yards in 2022. High IQ, that's definitely something I give Brady. Very high IQ, natural feel for the position, making something out of nothing. I give them all high marks on that. Knowledge and instincts. Athleticism, maybe Mahomes and Mahomes definitely number 1 there. Herbert second, and Brady a distant third, given how old he is and how immobile he is. But he outranks the others on the high IQ. Toughness, right? Both physical and mental. They take a beating and they can still perform. I give all three of them pretty high ratings there. I would rank Mahomes first, Brady second, Herbert third. And mentally, they can forget about the bad plays. They might throw an interception, come off the field. They don't sulk. They go right back out there and go after it. So how do I rank Jordan Love in those categories? He's definitely got a strong arm, right? High IQ, natural feel for the position. I'm not so sure. It's a small sample so far. He did play very well in the second half of the season. Does he have the high IQ? Does he have the natural feel for the position? He seems to be growing into that. Knowledge and instincts. Again, in the second half of the season, he showed that, particularly in the playoff game against Dallas. His first playoff game, he was a cool customer. He came right out there and he played extremely well. Toughness, I think he has that. He's a very athletic quarterback. He runs well. He had 247 yards rushing and 4 TDs in last season. And I think he's the mental part of the game. I think he's and physical part of the game. He's taken some tough sacks and he's gotten right back up there. And also, the first part of the season, he had a bunch of bad plays. He forgot about those and he performed extremely well in the second half of the season. So, does he have the qualities to be a superstar? I think he does. Does he have the longevity and the games under his belt to rank him that? Not yet. And so I agree, and I said this earlier. I don't think he's a superstar yet, but I do think he has the potential to be one, and maybe not too far into the distant future.
Well, I think that it's going to really be hard for him to even escape his own division now because there's so much hype around it. The Lions just made an NFC championship for the first time in 30-plus years. They were very, very close to making it to the Super Bowl. The Chicago Bears got much better with a better quarterback, better running back room, better receiver group. Even I think the Vikings, well, yes, they lost a quarterback, and Kirk Cousins is a consistent quarterback. I think the defense is going to be better. I think we'll see what J.J. McCarthy looks like, if he's even going to be out there playing.
He'll be out there.
I mean, it looks like Sam Darnold's the starter, but I think just because there's so much hype around it, I think it's going to be difficult to separate yourself, at least from a news standpoint, because there's so many storylines going surrounding especially the Chicago Bears with rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. But I do think if you have another consistent season, averaging, my guess is you could probably get another 4,100-yard season underneath your belt, another year in this system with LaFleur, another year for these young receivers in the system as well, gaining even more rapport with them. I think you could really make a name for yourself, and especially with the history of the Green Bay Packers hitting quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And I said this about a month ago. I think they've hit on their third consecutive quarterback, but I think it's still going to be difficult because you play in the NFC North, who historically, little bit of a cakewalk for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Now, with Jared Goff and now Dan Campbell running a very strong Lions group, their defense getting better, the Bears should be much better, and I think the Vikings are a bad wild card, but still a wild card when it comes to if J.J. McCarthy fits beautifully into Kevin O'Connell's system and just does plug and play, paint by the numbers, I think he'll be okay, 7-10, 8-9 at the very, very best. So it's going to be difficult to separate yourself from a visual standpoint of getting MVP votes, and I think that's where superstardom comes into play, where are you being a serious consideration to get the MVP award? Because that's what Josh Allen has done. That's what Joe Burrow has done. Mahomes has done. Hurts has done. Lamar Jackson's a 2-time MVP. That's where you really separate yourself from the great, good, bad, average to horrible quarterbacks. That's where you're in a whole other category of elite. You are expected to be in contention for MVP, and also expected to be in contention for a Super Bowl. And I think that the Packers are close. I think they're very close. Although we saw Josh Jacobs not have the greatest season last season with the Raiders, it was the Las Vegas Raiders who had Jimmy Garoppolo plummet like I think a lot of people expected because the Raiders didn't have the talent that the 49ers did. But I think overall, I just think that Jordan Love is very close. He just needs more time. It's his first season too. It's his first season as a starter, and he's putting up great numbers. So we're going to have to see more years under your belt, more recognition, and it's going to be unfortunate because you play in the tough NFC North. But I got faith. I had faith back then. I never really thought that Jordan Love was a bad quarterback.
We didn't know. Nobody could tell. He never got to play.
Well, it was like the first
when he
9
did play,
games,
it
you're
was,
like, and then the last 10, you're like, oh, okay, this is a nice comeback from what you did. I think it was just simply you have the youngest team in the NFL. Everybody's getting reps now. Yeah, exactly that. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.